The Essential Education projector range from Hitachi sponsors ICT programs.
Hello and welcome to a Resource Review ICT special. Are you unsure what direction to take when it comes to primary geography ICT resources? Well, today we're looking at 3 that might just set you on the right track. They are a website that looks at global development, an interactive CD-ROM for Key Stage 2, and a regional website by teachers for teachers. Recommending today's resources is Paula Richardson, an educational writer and primary schools geography advisor. We're also joined by Claire McKinnon. Claire is a primary school teacher at Merland Rise Primary School in Epsom, Surrey, and Claire has road tested all the resources we're looking at today in her own classroom. And we also have Alan Mills from the Specialist Schools and Academies Trust. And our resident ICT investigator, Matthew Tosh, will be checking out the resources to see if they really do what they say on the tin. So, Paula, tell us about your first choice of resource.
Well, it's called Primary Global Eye. It's a free resource online. It's rather in a sort of magazine format, and it deals with a limited number of development issues.
And it covers a whole range of themes, is that right?
It does, yes. It provides a lot of material for teachers, and some of which they can actually use directly with children, and it's certainly going to be able to be used more easily with Key Stage 2. But, for instance, photographs like this showing the shoes made out of old car tyres are excellent resources which they can use with Key Stage 1 as well. It is not a series of lesson plans. It's a resource for them to actually interrogate and to be able to choose aspects to use with the youngsters.
Well, let's see if Primary Global Eye can live up to Paula's endorsement. Over to Matthew in the test lab.
The Primary Global Eye website is both colourful and easy to navigate around. You can see here the startup screen gives you 4 icons corresponding to the sections of the website. I'm going to have a look at the Eye On section, which gives you a case study about a particular region or area. In this edition it's Mumbai. Scrolling down the page you can see lots of colourful images, and the text is spaced out, which means the pages aren't cluttered with information, and each section of the website is split up into individual pages, and there's some links on the left hand side of the page to help you navigate through these. Some of the images that you see are interactive, like this one here, and if I click on it, little graphics pop up showing me world populations. I really like that idea. Each page features at least one interactive image, and you need to have Flash installed on your computer for this to work. Most school browsers have this as standard anyway. As you move around the website, you'll notice that some of the words are underlined as links, like monsoon here. And if I click on it, it takes me off to a glossary, so it could be really good for pupils learning new keywords. There are links to other websites on the pages and also pupil activities. Many of these open in little pop-up windows, and there are also worksheets that you can click on, print out for the pupils to write on. There are comprehensive teacher notes that go with each website, like so, and this gives you access to all the back issues of Primary Global Eye and even back issues of the case studies. One thing I will say about the website though is there are a lot of pop-up windows that open, and if you're not disciplined in closing these, very soon you could end up with lots of cluttered windows all over your screen. And of course, if you're running pop-up blocking software, you're going to need to allow pop-ups from this website in order to view it properly. And that concludes our look at the Primary Global Eye website.
Well, Paula, a great demo from Matthew there. You know what struck me is that this is a very extensive resource. How are pupils, or teachers for that matter, really going to get a handle on what it offers?
And I think that this website, the value of it, it provides a large amount of material, and as I said earlier, it's very important that teachers actually browse through it and select. It is not necessarily a site that they're going to actually let the pupils loose on without actually directing them to certain aspects of it. It contains masses of really up-to-date material, and what we've seen is not just what's there. There is a super archive of really, really important stuff supporting the curriculum curriculum, but it does need teachers to actually think about how they can actually weave it in to the curriculum they teach.
Well, we've got one of those teachers right here. Claire, you've actually used this resource. What did you think?
I used the resource with a Year 1-2 mixed class. The children thought it was a nice way to present geography. It was bright and colourful. They did say that the photographs were rather small and made it hard for them to see. And I found that there was an awful lot of text to get through. There were games that they enjoyed playing as well. So there's a fabulous resource page, and you've got a fun zone here, and we did the rubbish challenge after going through some of the information previously given to us, and also a quiz which they thoroughly enjoyed. It was great.
So the pupils liked it, but as a teacher, did you find it user-friendly? Did you have to put a lot of work in?
You do have to go through everything before you actually present the lesson in quite a lot of detail so that you can select what's needed.
Alan, you're nodding. What were your thoughts?
I think that's actually true. I mean, some of the stuff in it was would need a lot of teaching, I think, to really bring out the good bits. I thought some of the picture resources were not good enough. I mean, if you're starting this off on a whiteboard, if you enlarge the image, it wasn't good enough quality, and I think that's a real mistake because it was quite easy. You'd have to have copied them, paste them into something else to use those pictures sensibly, which is a shame. I think the games were fun. I mean, I showed myself up terribly. I couldn't do the rubbish challenge, and I'm not sure if that's an example of my ineptitude or the fact that it just needed a lot of other information first.
Paula, what would you say to that?
Oh, you need to be a 6-year-old to be able to get the most out of the games. Yes, it is a free resource, and in a sense, I rather like the idea the teacher has to work with it to select stuff, rather than just have something which they can use in the classroom from A to Z.
Well, thank you. Now let's move on to Paula's second choice of resource, and it's the interactive CD-ROM from Collins called Virtual Geography. Now, Paula, not the only interactive CD-ROM on the market, so tell us about Virtual Geography and why you like it.
It's really good geography, written by a geographer who well understands what is needed at Key Stage 2. It does cover nearly all the topics that needed to be done at Key Stage 2. And one of the good things about it, it has some super ideas. It looks at European transport, it looks at traffic problems, it looks at town planning. I mean, really quite inventive things which they then can transfer into the locality. I also like the fact that they move away, if you like, from the schemes of work, and they talk about recycling, global warming, mountains and so on, which, if you like, allow the teachers to develop their own interests and their own curriculum a little bit more easily than if they're really slavishly following a scheme of work.
Well, thank you very much. Now let's go back to Matthew in the test lab for his report on virtual geography.
This software package gives you access to a variety of interactive presentations, and each presentation features an introduction, an activity and an extension task, supported by lots of colourful images to help put the activity into context. At the moment I've got my startup screen. It's the main menu and it shows you all the topics available. So let's have a look at one of them.
In the UK, we use many different types of energy. Some are renewable and some are non-renewable.
Now you'll have noticed there the voiceover. All of the activities on here have voice support, which makes it ideal for pupils to work with on their own. Of course, you might want to switch this off if you're doing a presentation using an interactive whiteboard. After the introduction, you can go to activity, and these are quizzes or problem-solving tasks. This one here, you can pick up an icon and you can drag it across to a town. You can click on the question mark, it gives you some support questions. But be warned, when you click on the back button to go back to the screen, if you've got the sound on, the voiceover starts again and it might get a little bit tiresome after the third or fourth time. There are access to keyword banks, just down here on the left, and clicking on one of the keywords brings up a definition for it. Once you've done that, then you can go on to the extension task. Similar kind of thing, but obviously this puts more demand on the pupils. Now, going along with each presentation, there is a photo bank. Now, you can print these out by clicking on the print preview button, and that could be useful in project work. The other button I want to show you is the map button, and it shows you a world map in terms of the environment, the landscape, or the population density. And the key on the left-hand side helps you decode the colours. Now, you can also zoom in. You can zoom into Europe and the United Kingdom. Sadly, you can't visit other parts of the world in detail. So all in all, this is a self-contained presentation package. There's good voiceover support, but to preserve your sanity, if you're using it with a whole class set of computers, then I'd advise the pupils to get headphones.
Well, Claire, you've tried this resource in your own classroom. How did it go down?
I used this with Year 3s and Year 5s. They really enjoyed it. They thought it was a good way to present a lesson, and there was excellent opportunities to stop and actually work in groups and develop it into project work. If you pick up the key questions and then develop those further, it works really well.
Okay.
An irritation I had was the key vocabulary not extending into the extension activity.
Right, OK. Is that something that's missing, Paula?
Yes, I suppose it's one of those situations where a resource is never going to be 100% for everybody, and I agree. You know, if they're going to redo it again later, perhaps extending the vocabulary is very important. But again, it's something that the children might actually do themselves, get them actually into putting and asking and looking for the right sort of vocabulary, making it interactive in getting the children to say how could they improve various aspects of the of the resource.
Fantastic.
Sometimes that hindered the actual activity itself, though, and it needed further explanation. So you couldn't necessarily go into the CD-ROM cold as a teacher.
Right,
so.
OK. Well, Alan, let's bring you in. What were your thoughts on virtual geography?
I like the topics. I think it's wonderful you can go to the topics. The thing that ICT confused me was the fact that you do need to extend it in various ways. I didn't think it was that easy to extend. It was self-contained. Some of the self-contained exercises are very good, but I just think you could actually use it a lot more effectively, and it's a bit too closed in my view. There's not enough opportunities to open it up to the web and open it up to other images and other resources.
Okay,
and that's a shame. And also, I missed the parrot.
You missed what?
I missed the parrot. The parrot in the other one was an exciting addition.
But this is Key Stage 2, so...
Oh, OK.
No parrots in Key Stage 2. No. Yes, and again, it's a situation where the geography is excellent, and I think it's a good resource geographically, and the technology doesn't always, if you like, match the supremeness of the geography in it.
Exactly.
However, the children did like the photos and the contrast of the activities.
Yes, and they are big photographs this time in this one. Yes,
yeah,
and
no
differentiated activities as well.
Well, this resource is spurring a lot of discussion, but I'm afraid we've got to move on to Paula's third choice of resource. This is another free one, Paula. Tell us about it.
Yes, it's a local authority Staffordshire site, Staffordshire Learning Net, and it's one of the best, I think, in England. I have to say it is a teacher resource, and it is updated on a frequent basis, so you can go there, you can look at not only projects and topics, but you can actually look at how to run and support geography in the primary school. A wonderful thing to go looking for here, and I really thought was smashing, was that immediately after the tsunami, within a very short time, there was a wonderful video on the tsunami, which was so moving and I think could be used at any stage. And I think that for teachers, it's brilliant.
Right, Claire?
I think it's more top primary and secondary based. Ideal for coordinators, though. Excellent, up-to-date topics.
OK, Alan, brief comment from you.
I thought it was excellent. By schools, for schools, really good.
Great. Well done, Paula. Very popular third choice of resource there. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. But just to recap, the three resources that we looked at were the Global Eye primary website from the Royal Geographical Society and the Institute of British Geographers, the Virtual Geography CD-ROM from HarperCollins Publishers Limited, and the Staffordshire Learning Net website from Staffordshire County Council. For more information about resources featured on the programme today, go to our website. It's teachers.tv/resource review, or you can email us resourcereview@teachers.tv. Big thank you to our panel, to Paula, to Claire and to Alan. Thanks also to Matthew, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Resource Review. Bye-bye.
Essential education projectors from Hitachi sponsor ICT programs.